for it, man.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get going. Welcome, everyone. It is being recorded, so don't worry. We got Rick, we got Brandon, we got Christian Dodge, we got Mr. Grant Parker. Is it your first time? Mr. Jeff Kaufman, Jonathan Kaufman, Paul Chupin, Roger, and let's get going. Today is the 4th week, and we got, another Rick Campos coming. Come on, sir.
Oh,
You're already,
okay.
you're already here. Come on.
Go on.
I know you like the Purpose Lab. So
you can continue. I'll get this thing on.
That's it. Okay. So good morning, America. Yeah. And welcome to today's Purpose Lab. Look, this is our 4th week. This is a 4-week journey. And here's the top of the topic about numifying you guys into great founders. The first week, we talked about you're not your startup. We talked about identity. We talked about how purpose is downstream of identity, and identity is downstream of authorship. And the authorship can only come from God. The second week, we talked about assignment, but assignment before ambition. The third week, last week, we talked about, does your life agree with the assignment you say you have? And now today, our topic is become the founder your assignment requires. Because your next season will require a new version of you. Oh, by the way, if you open the Bible, I haven't read. When I woke up, it was already written. Okay, so it is there. Every single person there went through a new version, a new numification. Because the next season of every single Bible character was like that. They were the old self and then the new you. They become a new person. So it's not me. It was written when I woke up today. Here's the idea. God does not just give founders assignments. We all have assignments. We're all founders. So we know that. But he also forms the founder who can carry the assignment. That's what he does. He doesn't call the qualified, but he qualifies the called. So the question is, who do I have to become to faithfully carry what God is asking me to build? And I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think is the goal of an assignment? Christian Dodge, what do you think is the goal of an assignment? Where's the main goal?
The first thing that comes to mind is get it done.
Get it. I know it.
Right.
I know it. It's right.
GSD.
GSD. It is right. It is right. But it is true, but incomplete. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the goal of an assignment is not just to be done, accomplished, fulfilled, is to see who you have to become to fulfill it. That's it. And this is where we're going today. Oh, by the way, I'm going to hit enter in the chat. Check the chat. Workbook. Mr. Paul Chupa, please let me know if you can see the work. You see? It works. Now, topic number 1. I always go purpose, faith, startup. Let's talk about purpose. Who you must become to get the assignment done. It's a becoming journey. Now, as founders, we always ask, what do I need to build next? We're doers, we execute, we're hitmen, sicarios, that's it. So we just ask, what do I need to build next? We have plenty of ideas. And our minds as founders, we navigate naturally, migrate towards offers, website, funnels, posts, social media, customers, ICPs, investors, if you're raising. Those are real questions, but they are incomplete. That's why in every Purpose Lab, we go a level, yes, sicarios, that's it. We go one level deeper, sometimes many levels deeper. It's who do I need to become next? For example, I knew years ago that in this season, to achieve what God had for me, which became numified, I had to become a different person. I had to get closer to my true identity according to God. On the first week of the series, the final question was, who am I to you, Father? That's it, authorship, identity. So I had to grow into this new person, which I'm still growing. I can use another example, say Gerald, for example, for the new Cana for the future Cana. That's not the same Gerald that started old Cana. Jet Pro, I can go Jeff Kaufman. Jeff, you're the first box today. So I'm going to pick on you. I'm kidding, sir. But Jet Pro, he's been a builder. Now he's in the software. And God has a big assignment for Jeff. It's probably not the Jeff from the past. However, I'm not talking position, I'm talking progression. So we're always progressing. It's a timeline. Now, who am I becoming? Who are you becoming? Who's Paul becoming? Christian, Gerald, Chi. It's not according to your personal preferences. It's according to God. Okay, sometimes the business is not waiting on a better strategy, but is waiting on a more formed founder. What does that mean? It could mean to you more disciplined founder, a more courageous founder, a more faithful, more honest, or more focused, or emotionally mature, or just consistent, or less scattered, or instead of more obedient, less disobedient. So the founder who starts the assignment may not be the founder required to carry the next season. That is formation. Every real assignment has a formation requirement. Think about the military. We don't have Eddie today, but think about the military. I can only imagine, I'm always going back to the Maduro operation at the start of the year. How many times did those men, the Night Stalkers, had to rehearse the same operation over and over and over and over again until they were ready to perform that operation with their eyes closed? So it's a formation. If God gives you something to steward, he's also going to form you into the kind of person who can carry it. This is a relief, because when I see what God has revealed to me, and I see, how can I, don't worry, I'm going to be qualified as long as I say yes, as long as I abide, obey, and trust. That means the assignment is going to trigger, that's by logic. That means the assignment will trigger, will expose what is underdeveloped in you, and we don't like it. We don't like it. The new assignment is going to expose avoidances, inconsistencies, doubts, lack of capacity, lack of competence. It's normal. We don't like it, but that's how it works. And here's the line I wanted to sit with. Your assignment will trigger, will expose the version of you that can no longer come forward. So we have to say goodbye. Why? Why does God do that? Because he loves you too much to let an old version of you carry a new assignment in a way that destroys you or the people you're called to serve. He would hate to see you just destroying yourself or the people around you or the people you're called to serve. So he's going to make you into a new founder. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to take a look at what we are calling the founder formation gap. The gap, what is the gap? The gap is the gap between the assignment you say you have from God and the current version of you trying to carry it. There's a gap, like the train and the platform, subway. That's it. There's always a gap. We're going to look into 5 common gaps. Don't get too caught up in the numbers. It could be 10, it could be 15 gaps, but I think these 5 gaps, they cover what we need to cover. These are 5. You know what? I'm going to paste it in the chat because I like to paste things in the chat. I think it helps. There you go. These are, oh, come on, Zoom. There you go. Courage gap, discipline gap, clarity gap, capacity gap, character gap. Courage gap is just where are you avoiding what must be confronted. The discipline gap is where you're inconsistent with what matters most. The clarity gap is where you're still vague or scattered or double-minded. The capacity gap is where you need more strength, margin, or emotional stability. And the character gap, this one is important. is where do your private patterns and habits and mindsets do not match the public assignment? And I'm going to tell you why this one is important. The courage gap could be the trust gap, could be the faith gap. Where are you avoiding what must be confronted? Because you lack faith, or you lack trust, or you lack courage. Perhaps it's admitting, saying on a Thursday meeting, the founders check-in, raising your hand and saying to Gerald, say something like, hey, I don't have a sales pipeline. Just admitting that instead of just winging it. Admit that, I don't know, your demand generation is broken. Your traction, you have 1,000 people interested, but doesn't produce any revenue. Or admitting, say, for example, or saying no, the courage to say no to something that looks good on paper, but has nothing to do with your business. For me, courage and faith, they go hand in hand. Fear is what if. Faith is even if. Even courage is even if. Fear is present, but you advance anyways. So in this next season, if your next season requires something to be confronted and get done, but you keep avoiding it, there's your gap. The discipline gap is, where are you inconsistent with what matters most? We've seen, me and Gerald, lots of founders saying we need more information, we're just waiting, we're just doing more research, we're just analyzing, and it never stops. I understand. That's their excuse. But sometimes they do not need more information to get things done. They need the discipline to do what they know they already should be doing. Say, for example, we all know here, writing content, following up, shipping it, less distraction, even the discipline to pray or rest. Okay, I'm guilty of that. Not about praying, but rest. Gerald scolds me once a week. How's your Sabbath? No Sabbath. What? So this is where I'm inconsistent. Now, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. So the founder your assignment requires may not be more gifted than you are today. Perhaps you're just more disciplined. That's it. The clarity gap is where you're still vague, scattered, or double-minded. That's where, Mr. Sid, good to see you, sir. This is where our hero on the website, Stop Guessing, comes in. The clarity. Founders are unclear. It's true. But most of the times, that's all they need, clarity. Clarity about the buyer, clarity about the real problem they're solving, clarity about the offer, about the message, about a lead conversation. Whatever the case is, you need just clarity. Sometimes it's just that. So when the founder isn't clear, guess what else gets unclear? Revenue. That's it. It's a ghost. It's a shadow. So the next version of you may have to become more clear. That's all. Now, the capacity gap. Where do you need more strength, margin, or emotional stability? Okay. Let's start from the beginning. God is God-sized. His assignments are God-sized. There are assignments like Noah's Ark that we need to become yielded vessels and let him run the ship. We are cargo. However, sometimes the assignment's not that big, but your capacity is too thin. Could be personal problems. It could be that you're tired. It could be that you're stressed out. It could be that you're spiritually dry, distracted, or you simply don't know how to scale your capacity. You've hit your limit. That's it. Capacity is not just doing more. It's about becoming someone who can carry what matters without collapsing under it. That's it. That's capacity. And now the final one is the character gap. This one is the most important. Where do your private patterns, habits, and mindsets do not match the public assignment? Your business will create visibility. Remember, the founder becomes the brand and the brand becomes the movement. Who's leading the movement? You. Now, you won't be able to hide your shortcomings for too long. Your bad habits, your mindsets for too long. You won't. This thing is going to show. The pressure will trigger. It will reveal the character of the founder behind the business, and it always does. So if there are certain private mindsets and behaviors and patterns that you go through, like, I don't know, avoidance, pride, insecurity, people pleasing, blaming, they eventually show up in the business. And why is this important? Because remember, it's a becoming process. It's who you need to become to fulfill your next assignment. So character is the most important part for God. He's more interested in who you will become while building what he assigned to you, what he assigned you to build. That's why character is part of the foundation. Mr. Benson, welcome, sir. So character is not separate from startup execution. Now, here's the question. What part of you cannot carry the next season unless you change? We all have gaps. Which one is your formation gap? Courage, discipline, clarity, capacity, or character? This is an invitation. I'm not pointing fingers, not judging. Purpose Lab is non-judgmental. However, I'm always inviting you to become a better steward of God's assignment for your life, a better builder. That's it. So the business becomes the classroom. That's where the formation happens. I see businesses as, I see two things happening to business. People tell me, why do you like so much, entrepreneurship and building business? I'm like, because business for me is the best vehicle for you to serve the largest amount of people possible with your purpose. That's it. I wouldn't be able to do that as an employee, but as a builder, yes. And the other thing is that because we are deploying purpose with our businesses, the business becomes the classroom where the formation happens. Now, let me go to Gerald. Sir.
Yes, sir.
You have built for decades. And you have seen founders with big ideas and big pivots, big callings, big ambitions. When you hear this idea that sometimes the business is not waiting on a better strategy, but a more formed founder, what do you think about that?
Well, this whole area is huge because I think the genesis is so funny, Christian, because in the last 2 weeks, actually, when I went from old CanaGlobal to new CanaGlobal, what we call right now, and then we're preparing for future CanaGlobal, news, media, smart startup towns, so forth. The thing that God was speaking into my heart is you're going to have to, there's a new Gerald that you're going to have to become. You're going to have your caterpillar to butterfly moment. But the genesis of it all, I was reading, I'll share this with you guys, 1 Corinthians, and it's verse 26 and 28. And it says, brothers and sisters, think of what you were when you were called. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Now, I don't know if that's an insult or not, but I'm good. I'm down with that.
Take it as a compliment.
It says, not many were influential. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. The first time I heard that, I said, I'm your man then. Sign me up, Lord. It says, God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are. So that's how he chose us. But then this week, Christian, God was like pointing out John 10:10 to me. In John 10:10, I love it in the Amplified translation because it says, the thief comes only to kill, steal, and destroy. And this is Jesus talking. And then he says, I came that they may have life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. That's pretty good. That's what I want, right? I want abundance. But in 1 Corinthians 9:24, it talks about the need for self-discipline and the way that we run the race to win it. So in my life, like there's something that I'm really working on right now is I know that the things that have gotten me to where I am
Mm.
will not take me to where I want to go.
Yes.
There's more Gerald formation that has to happen. And God's told me many times, I've let you get away with this, that, and the other thing.
Not
That
anymore.
ain't going to work. That ain't going to work in the new thing. And it's interesting because we always joke about flawed but faithful from
Yes.
Hebrews 11, flawed but faithful. But that's the floor. It doesn't mean we stay there. And so if you sit and you look at just all the different people that God, the formation that he did with Moses, that he did with Paul, that just, you can go down the list. You can go through everybody in Hebrews 11, and he did this. But here's the interesting thing, Christian, from my own advice or for my own life, but also what I see in others. Somebody thinks they have a revenue problem, or they think they're confused, or they can't seem to get to revenue, or they got too many things. But we could just build the list of the things.
Mhm.
It's almost always a formation problem. Anytime I'm confused about anything, which is all the time, because there's always, building a business is like juggling plates. There's always one that's, kind of, going to fall, you know what I mean? You're spinning plates,
Yes.
and one of them's always going to fall. And so for me to have clarity, I have to rise to a level. My mind has to rise to a level. So for me, it always comes down to this one thing. This is what it comes down to sequence and priority. It's
Mhm.
waking up on time for me. That's 4. My time with God in the Word, working with God in formation, the founder formation, like going to Him and saying, "Okay, what part of me do you want to change?" When I was reading through your notes of today, and looking for my gap, I went to God and I says, "Okay, do I have a courage problem? Do I have a discipline problem? Do I have a clarity problem? Do I have a capacity
Capacity.
problem? Do I have a character problem?" And God is actually speaking to me on all these different things. But
Mhm.
what I do know, Christian,
Mhm.
is that what I know for sure is that this next season requires a new version of me, because it's really interesting when you watch like people. You take somebody like Charlie Kirk. When he moved into a new season, all of a sudden people want to kill him.
Mhm.
All of a sudden everybody's talking bad about him. I remember at one point God says your skin's too thin.
Oh, lotion skin.
Yeah, if somebody gives you a hard time, you want to kill them.
Curl up
You
in
know,
bed. Oh my God, fetal position.
yeah, so I don't know. I'd like to hear let's go to Sid for a second
Mr. Sid.
on this huge, God gave you one of these Noah's Ark things. It's a big thing. What is God telling you, Sid, about like, here's the Sid that got you to this point, but what's the, you don't have to tell us everything, but do you sense a big transformation has to happen inside you uh, for this new assignment that God has given you?
No, not a new transformation. I believe that God planted that seed in me when maybe even before I was born. I've always
Yeah.
been a driver, and I started driving long haul from Edmonton, Alberta to Laredo, Texas when I was 18 years old.
But my
Uh,
question is,
and that right now, God is just saying, be patient. It's coming.
so you don't have to grow at all?
I can't grow till I get money.
No, I would disagree with you. I
Okay.
would say that with everybody God works with, I think you're just misunderstanding what I'm saying. I think what we have to do is get prepared. Like even Moses. Remember what did he have to do? He was trying to do everything himself. There's always spiritual growth. There's always purpose. There's always this new, a constant, the renewing of our mind never, ever stops. It just doesn't stop. And there's always this new person, this new you that you have to become. And I think that's the one, like, if in my life, when I don't see progress in the places that I want to see progress, it always comes back to me.
Yeah.
Have I surrendered? Have I gone to God and have I said, what part of me do you want me to change? And it's really, I can't do it with willpower. It just doesn't work. It's really a surrender, and it's acknowledging that I'm gonna, in Christian's words, I want to get new-mified, the new me,
Numified. That's it.
the new me. And I think I see that with founders over and over and over. They have to change. It's the caterpillar to butterfly moment, and it's in their faith, it's in their purpose, and it's in their startup. But I would say this: until we're ready, nothing you do will work.
Yes.
And Moses was out in the desert shepherding sheep for how many years? And Joseph had to wait how many years?
Yeah, there's always a
And
waiting.
I
I'm
believe
not,
that God is
there's
just
always a
saying-
waiting. What I'm saying is there's always a development that we go through.
Oh, yeah.
And so when
Even
I
through
see
the waiting.
somebody, yeah, what I see is we have to surrender and become, I'll give you an example with you that I know you've done a good job with. Okay. Where were you at a tech level when you first came in, Sid?
Technical, I'm still there.
Okay. Well, guess
At the
where you
bottom of
have
the
to
scale.
go to be the new, and you have learned things. I mean, you have
Yes,
learned.
but I have to rely on a lot of other people to help me through the technical stuff.
Yeah, maybe you do.
Capacity.
But what I'm saying is you have to grow, because you have to become the CEO. There are things that you have to become. And so there's all kinds of stuff that we don't know how to do. We just have to learn how to do them. And we see that all the time. And that's just one area. I'm not going to go into the other. Christian, let me give it back to you.
Look, I remember a couple of years ago, I was talking to some friends, and I said I would hate to be a flatliner in life. So when I'm not growing, I compare that to a flat line. I don't know, you guys ever saw a heart beating on a graph?
Yeah.
Once you flatline, what does that mean? You're dead. I'm like, no, I'm not flatlining. I have to grow I still have to keep beating my heart up and down, up and down, up and down. That's growing for me. Now, I want to move from purpose to faith. And here's the topic: put off the old, put on the new. That's straight from Ephesians 4:22-24. What I'm talking here, and Purpose Lab, by the way, it's not personal development woo-woo with a biblical twist. It's never the case. Absolutely never the case. We're talking also about spiritual formation, because we have to become a more faithful steward. That's not just, oh, how can I become more successful? How can I get better results? How would I get better results? I mean, God knows us. He knows that in our hearts, sometimes I want to become more successful. Yeah, what kind of success? I want better results. What kind of results? I'm not talking about that. Specifically, I'm talking, how do I become more faithful, renewed, and disciplined so I can carry this assignment well? Now, when I read Ephesians 4:22-24, I don't know about you guys, but I read Paul, not Paul Chupa, come on, Apostle Paul, calling us to death and resurrection. This is what I read. You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. If pneumify were a passage of scripture, it would be Ephesians 4:22-24. I remember one of my meetings with Gerald. I was still in incubator core 3, probably the B suite meeting. I was bitching. That's why I call B suite. I was complaining about something, and again, Gerald, he asked me a question. Hey, Christian, if he was trying to understand the Pneumify stuff, he said, if Pneumify, what's the biblical grounding for Pneumify? If you had to say, no, this is what Pneumify is all about, what would you say? And I said, Ephesians 4:22-24. Put off the old self, put on the new. And he said, oh, okay, I got it. Okay, that's it. That out of the way, let's start building. Look, there are things, and we all know that cannot be managed or carried into the next season. They have to be put off. If you have some protected excuses, out. If fear, for some reason, is leading your decisions, out. If your bad habits are shaping you daily, out. You have to be pneumified for your next season. Literally, goodbye old self, hello new me. That means formation has always two movements: out, in, die, resurrect. Surrender to God, become in Christ. Repent, walk. Put off, put on. Release, replace. Stop, start. Always like that. I always say, the Bible is a book of promise, but it's a book of patterns. Each biblical character, they had to leave something behind and embrace something new, their new identity. Now, examples. Surrender the old insecurity. Embrace the new authority. Or let go of the need for approval to get your new visibility. Or let go of the pivoter to resurrect. Pivoters are going to hate me. To resurrect into the founder that produces profitable revenue. Yeah, sometimes you have to go. Stop pivoting. Let go of the lie identity, my identity, which I taught on the first week of the series. Lie identity, my identity, BS cycle. And start downloading the true identity according to God. Who am I to you, Father? And Paul is clear when he says put off. That's step one. That means there are some things God will ask us to take off before we can faithfully carry what comes next. Paul again says in Romans 12:2 that transformation requires a renewed mind. That's step two. Think about how your new founder, the new Christian, the new Sid, the new Benson, the new Paul, the new Chi, the new Jonathan Kaufman is going to interpret delay, slow revenue, no money, criticism, closed doors, desert season. So before and after the renewal of the mind. Before, I can tell you this, the old self usually interprets everything through fear, ego, scarcity, approval, and control. That's it. The renewed mind learns to interpret through truth, wisdom, obedience, patience, and faith. Yesterday, during the venture partners meeting, I remember Gerald was throwing some questions about the startup playbook. And he was asking, say, for example, what is freedom to you? And I caught myself in two moments. What would the old Christian would answer? And what is the answer of the new Christian? Guess who's the default position? Guess where's the default position? Old. It's amazing. He would ask, my mind would go straight into the old self answering, what is freedom? And I remember, wow, freedom is freedom to choose whatever I want. No. And I caught myself like, no, it's like the mind is like a compass needle. When it's out of balance, you just have to get a stronger magnet and just rub it. That's it. So I thought, oh, what the new Christian would answer. And I've been developing this for years. Well, I would say I want to be free from the scarcity mentality, the poverty mentality, the failure founder mentality. I want to be free of the sin. I want to be free of the stuff. I want to be free of the burdens that I carried my entire life. And I want to be a slave to God's will. So I want to be free to choose that. I'm like, oh, okay. Pat in the back, pat myself in the back. That's it. Because we have a default position when it comes to before how we interpret stuff. And if you catch yourself thinking about that, don't condemn yourself. It's just, that's my mind being a magnet, being a compass, a broken compass. We just need to remagnetize. So for you to renew your mind, you need pruning. That's step 3. And I will go to John 15:2. Says that every branch that does bear fruit, God prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. So if you're being pruned, say, Jeff, after 5 years of being pruned, you can't say for sure it's because you're fruitful. Would you prune a tree that is not fruitful? Come on. Don't even waste your time pruning a dead tree. That's it. So if we are being pruned year after year after year after year, and what's up with that, God? Oh, I'm pruning you because you're fruitful. That means there are things that are not useful anymore. Off. Fruitful anymore. Off. They're not healthy anymore. Off. It could be anything from relationships to opportunities to versions of success you're clinging to, your illusion of control. Pruning is preparation for more fruit. Although we feel like punishment, we're humans. So we always think, why so much? No, I'm just pruning you. So my question is, what is the old pattern is God asking you to put off? And what's the new pattern is he asking you to put on? That's practical. It could be pride versus humility, pivoting. They're going to hate me. Pivoting versus endurance. It could be like vague daydreaming or clear execution. It could be hurry versus patience. What is it? That and here's the prayer. God, please form me. Correct me. Prune me. Renew my mind. Guys, you have to pray through, not out. So teach me what is new. Make me the kind of steward who can carry your assignment. That's it. So what is the old version of you trying to lead? What old version of you is still trying to lead the assignment? So, Gerald, I'm going to come to you again because I want your experience on this. What old patterns do you think most often keep founders from carrying the next season?
There's a scripture that comes to mind. Maybe some of you scholars will know what it is. It says, there's a way that a man thinketh that leads to death. Something like that. Mm-hmm. Somebody, if you have the scripture, maybe you can say what it is. But I think what happens is founders have a way of thinking that they think is right. Okay. But I can always tell just in the first few seconds or minutes if it's right or wrong. Like I know pretty fast because I've been doing this for a long time. And so if, I work back, if there's no revenue, then, I keep on working backwards. I go to somebody's LinkedIn profile and I can tell instantly what they're not doing that they should be doing. And they have reasons for not doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think, why would you trust your advice? Because you haven't produced any results. What you got to stop listening to you. Yep. Okay. There's, I go to, if they don't have results, I go inside of our dashboard, Christian, and I look at, okay, I gave them access to the startup playbook. Let me go see what they've done in there.
Uh-oh.
Okay. If I see 0, 0, 0, 0, let me just tell you something. Whatever the fruit is, the root is. And so that explains everything. And I think it's just a pride and ego that gets in the way. And everybody's always explaining. I think, I'm not exempt from this because anytime something's not working, which is, I go to, and I've said this, one, God, what's going on? James 1:5, you say I can come to you for wisdom. Show me what's going on. Open my eyes. He has to answer because that's a promise. It's Matthew 7:7, ask, seek, and knock. Show me what's going on. Number 2, are you waiting on me or am I waiting on you? You got all these people that say they're waiting on God. God's waiting on them.
Yeah.
Because they're not stewarding what he gave them.
Mm-hmm.
They just want the fruit. And there's a certain order to it. And until you do it in the order that it has to be done, you get zilch. Nothing happens. So you know what happens? More pruning. Then number 3 is, okay, then tell me what needs to be done. How do I need to do it? When do I do it? Give me the order of it. Anytime I'm feeling, a little lost with something, whether it might be the front end of something like demand. Like it's like if you need an investor or a customer, how the heck are they going to find you?
Yes.
What's your what is it that you're doing? And what usually happens is the things that people are doing aren't going to work. They're just not. There's a reason why, like only one, and even there's things that we've done in the old that won't work in the new.
Yes.
And I think about like LinkedIn. The stuff from 2025 and past they don't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I could make excuses all day long, or I have to crack what? I have to crack the code. And there's a bunch of things that you have to do.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, what I found with the 1% who can do 10 million, or the 0.04% that can do 100 million. If they're faith driven, they're going to God and they're asking him, show me what I need to do. Mm-hmm. I think there's a place of humility. It's a bold humility.
Yes.
Where you surrender and you say, I don't think I know what I'm doing right now. You know how many times I have that conversation with God in the morning? I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So I want to know, and I know you're going to I know I'm going to know. This is the new me. And there's certain things that sometimes, Christian, he says, well, I gave you something to do, but you haven't done it.
Yeah. How come you never done it?
It's an obedience thing sometimes. Well, how's that connected to, my revenue? Oh, it's connected. It's connected. Mm-hmm. Because the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and you're letting him destroy because you're choosing curse over blessing.
Death over life.
This is why this formation thing is so important, because it's really, like you said, if God only prunes what grows.
Yeah. If you're being pruned, be thankful every day.
You ever meet somebody who's been they're getting pruned for 50 years?
Dude, they're going to lose a limb.
Yeah. There's something wrong with that. That's not how long we stay in the desert.
No. You're not being pruned. You're being depleted. It's like
you're being depleted. So
you're being depleted. Yeah. Now that you talked about startups, I want to bring the startup topic now, which is the final topic. That's where we land the plane, because it has to become a sequence. Now, I want to propose something. We are calling the 90-day founder reinvention plan. Mm-hmm. Sounds, oh my God, can I do that? Oh yeah, it's really simple. This is where we land the plane. This is where we turn formation to behavior, into sequence and execution. It's not just, oh, okay, now I learned. Now it's data for later. No. You have to do it. Because I always say that, and it's in CanaGlobal's homepage. Old self is the ceiling, the new you is the system. If you go to the Purpose Playbook, Numify, you're going to see 6 stages. It's a system. I remember one, she almost became my client, the start of this year, private client. And I was telling her, she was saying like something like, but I don't want to confront my ideas with yours. And I said, I don't have any ideas. This is a playbook. It's a sequence. It's not my idea against your idea. It is a system that I'm giving you for you to install. It's like the playbook. It's not that you're going to go into, incubator and said, oh, Gerald, I don't agree with your ideas. It's a system. You just install. I don't want a system. Don't install it. So Numify is a system. So inspiration can only get you so far. And like Gerald said, like willpower Willpower has no power. Motivation turns into willpower in a couple of days, and in a couple of days, it's off.
It's off.
You don't have it. Now, today we are asking, who do we need to become? But we are also asking, what sequence will help me become that person over the next 90 days? Well, I'm not saying to become like the new Paul Chupa in 90 days. It could take a year. What I'm saying is that if you never start installing the patch, I don't mean the patch, it's like replacing the system, it's not going to work ever. So you have to start somewhere. Because look, here's the deal. You become the founder you need to become through repeated agreement between your assignment and your behavior. I'm going to say it again. You become the founder you need to become through repeated agreement between your assignment and your behavior. If I had time, I learned it's the 4 levels to mastery. A couple of years ago, it is a psychological model that was developed in 1960. So it's older than Gerald.
Oh.
1960. It's very, very good. There's certain in another purpose lab, I'm going to teach you guys the model. It's really, really good. And it's again and again, it's repetition. It's week after week. I still go back to the Maduro operation. For you to get in and out of Venezuela that fast, you need to train that. You need to rehearse that thing over and over and over to the exhaustion. Guess what you need to train? The new me. Like I told you yesterday, Gerald was asking stuff and like my compass was like, still the old, train, replace. That's it, replace it. Again and again, action after action, decision after decision, week after week. So I want to give you a simple 90-day. I'm going to give you 4 areas. So is that the entire Numified stuff? No. It's just 4 areas. Just you got to start somewhere. Now, it's the 4 C's, not 4 P's or 4 D's. It's 4 C's. Oh, paste it in the chat. Why not? It is. Drum roll. Here comes the chat. Character, calendar, customer activity, and capacity. Regarding founder formation, you can start with these 4. Character. What pattern, habit, mindset must change in the next 90 days? It's simple. Simple. Name one pattern, one habit, one mindset that you need to change. Stop analysis paralysis, excessive control, urge to pivot. Your urging is like you're itching, like I need to pivot. Stop blaming the market. I remember the guys I used to work for years ago, they're still blaming COVID. Still. Get to any meetings, like 6 years, guys. It's almost a decade. You're still blaming COVID. No. What about you actually go and find what is the reason why sales dropped so far? It's like change your habit, change your mindset, change your behavior. That's it. And remember, it's always 2 movements. Put on, put off, put off, put on. 2 movements. Old self, new you. Yeah, and by the way, character. It's not detached from startup execution. It shapes the execution. Number 2, calendar. Calendar, there are 3 movements. 3 things, 3 verbs. Drop, include, or protect. It's more or less these 3. So one must become protected in the next 90 days. One must, it's all in the playbook, guys. And if you guys don't have access to the PDF, just let me know. One must become protected in the next 90 days, dropped in the next 90 days, and included in the next 90 days. That's it. It could be what? Prayer, journaling, deep work, follow-up, health, rest, team meetings, offer refinement, pipeline review, whatever the case is. Include something, drop something that is draining you. That's it. You cannot become a new founder while living under the same unmanaged calendar. And remember, put off, put on, put off, put on. Customer activity. This is where many founders, they're going to hate reinvention. Customer activity. In plain English, it's revenue. We all want revenue. But what if you don't have a customer activity, a consistent customer activity? You're not talking to the market, you're not testing your offer. You don't even have the demand generation right. So in the next 90 days, what revenue producing behavior must become non-negotiable? And what revenue killing behavior must be dropped? That's dangerous. Could be what? 5 buyer conversation a week, daily follow-up, inviting people to reactivating old leads, asking for referrals. Remember, put off, put on. And fourth, capacity. Sometimes the assignment is not that big, but you're running too thin. Listen, you're stressed out like a butter, a slice of bread, like a thin layer of butter. Capacity, remember, I said that, is about it's about the strength to carry the assignment without breaking under the weight. That's it. So what do you need to strengthen? And why do you need to drop? What do you need to strengthen? Delegation, saying no, spiritual guidance, leadership. What do you need to be dropped? What do you need to drop? Doom scrolling, perfectionism, multitasking, people pleasing, fear of failure, comparison. That's it. Look, you cannot ask God for more. Yes, Chi, it's going to be the recordings are going to be available. We are rolling out a new strategy to make these recordings available, so it's going to be available. Yes. Do you have the playbook that I uploaded to the chat? Just let me know. If not, I'll drop it right now. Nope. Not a problem. It's easy to fix. There. Let me know if you can see it. You cannot keep asking God for more. Grow my business. Thank you, Chi. Grow my business. And he's looking at you. I want to grow you first. That's it. Sometimes God does not increase the assignment until he increases the vessel. And sometimes he increases the vessel by asking you to strengthen what you have ignored and remove what you are still clinging to. That's strong. It's always like that. Put off, put on. So 90 days, what weekly sequence would force you to become the founder? I have one challenge for you, a sequence. Here's the phrase. It's in the playbook, but I'm going to paste it in the chat because I like to paste things in the chat. Here it is. It's like a statement. The next 90 days, the founder of my assignment must become more. Fill in the blanks. Stop this. Start that. Remember, put off, put on, and practice this. Remember, the mind is a compass needle. You need to practice this stuff for the next 90 days. A good example would be, and I'm going to paste it in the chat. The founder, my assignment must become more disciplined. Stop hiding behind planning. Start shipping the product and commit to consistent demand generation every week for the next 90 days. It's simple, guys. You're not going to die. We are not going to die. You know, one of my commitments was to Gerald months ago. Gerald's going to remember that. It was the Sabbath. It was one of my commitments. I need to recharge because I was working like a madman, like a chicken. I don't know. I was working, no sap, no recharging. And I was drained. I couldn't. So this statement is clear, it is practical, it is measurable. That can be put on your calendar, and you need to put on your calendar because you got to make it real. That's how you start getting unified. And let me close this thing. Gerald.
Yes.
You see, Jeff, today, it's not your day. It's not your day. You're always the first box, man. Always the first box. You got to call Zoom. I mean, I need to be the last box. I mean, Gerald's always the first because he's a co-host, but, you know. Now, when you think about a 90-day plan, Gerald, 90-day, what would you tell the room, this room, to make non-negotiable for the next 90 days? One thing.
Well, first, I'm starting my 90 days this week, so I'm in this. But what I would say is Kaufman gave us the answer to the scripture I was looking for, and that was Proverbs 14:12. What I would say is you got to quit being stupid. So stupid. Okay. Now, a lot of people, oh my God, he's so mean. What? No, stupid is a biblical word. But this says there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. You got to quit being stupid. I'm going to give you 3 scriptures on stupid, and I'm going to stop being stupid. I love this word, stupid. Okay.
No, but you don't have the European accent.
Yeah,
stupid.
It's
stupid.
stupid.
It sounds
more stupid. It's stupid. Psalms 94:8. Consider thoughtfully, you senseless, stupid ones among the people.
That's offensive.
And you dull-minded fools, when will you become wise and understand? This is from the Amplified. Proverbs 12:1. Whoever loves instruction and discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof and correction is stupid. Oh. And then one more. Proverbs 18:2. I got there's like 30 something scriptures with the word stupid. A close-minded, you're not willing to get pneumified, right? You know everything. You've arrived. You've got the answers for everything, but the revenue for nothing. It says a close-minded fool does not delight in understanding, but only in revealing his personal opinions, unwittingly displaying his self-indulgence and his stupidity.
Oh my God.
So I think, but for me, it's a surrender. This week, Christian, when I was going through the notes, and see, God's already been working on it, and I realized, okay, I'm gonna go through these, 5 things that were in the workbook. I had the workbook open. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I am going on 90 days. I'm starting it. It's on my calendar, and I want to be the new me. Because what I recognize, I've been doing this a long time. If I don't allow God to shape me, if I don't surrender and allow him to shape me, nothing moving forward will work.
True.
Nothing. I'll try things that should work, that have always worked. They are not going to work. Because God, when he gives us the Kairos, the open door, he says, you're going to have to clean some things up before you come in. And this is really just a surrender. Okay, God, I'm willing to change whatever you want in me. You have my 100% cooperation. It's not willpower, it's surrender. And so I would just say, like, if you don't surrender, you're stupid.
That's true. Not even new Cana is going to happen.
No, it won't.
No,
none of
the
it. Stuff that we have, nothing will work.
Nothing will work
unless I submit to his process.
And
so I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. I'm all in. No, I said I'm starting this week. This topic, like it was all building. The light bulb just went on this like crazy this week. I got up at 3 this morning and started reading this, and I said, Lord, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah. So here's the challenge, guys. Here's the challenge. Gerald said, surrender. 90 days. That's the suggestion for the room. Now, you have to start somewhere. Pick one of the gaps. So there's 5 gaps. Pick one. Courage, discipline, clarity, capacity, character. Pick one. That's it. And then just complete in the next 90 days, one statement. The founder of my assignment requires must become more. This, stop this, put on this, and practice for the next 90 days. And then you have to make it to your calendar. This thing has to be on your calendar. It has to fire a notification on your phone every single day, because then, if not, you're not going to remagnetize your compass needle. Your mind has to be renewed. Transformation does not, guys, your assignment is not just calling you forward. It's calling you upward. So the next season is going to require a new founder. a more formed founder. And that's for everyone in this room. See that? Does anyone has any questions? I mean, fire it. If you don't, I will pray. Oh, Christian Dodge. Go ahead. Raised your hand.
I don't have a question, but
Go ahead.
I think just because of some of the stuff that I went through, I think we need to be lighter too. I'm one of those people that has endless energy. And so sometimes we just feel like we just keep loading the truck, loading it up with the backpack. In reality is God's called us to run a race, and we're trying to run it in the way that we're used to, which, like the burdens, especially us men, we just continue to just put all this weight. We'll carry it. So capacity for me is the one. And I started my 90 days about 2 weeks ago, unloading the capacity. And so I wanted to shared it in the chat down there. But as you guys have been talking this whole time, Ephesians 6:10 just kept popping up. We don't see the spiritual war that we're at. We also can't see our own blind spots. So I just want to thank you guys, because if it wasn't for you guys or coming in here, I just don't have anybody else to help me see my blind spots that have founder experience, right? Plenty of other people have business experience, and then they try to give us advice, but that's totally different than being a founder in our position right now. So thanks again.
Amazing to hear that. Amazing. I can see that Ephesians 6:10. We not only need the armor of God to move forward, we have to rid the weight we weren't called to carry. Matt 11:22 to 28. I mean, man, you're in the right place. You already started because you chose one. It's your capacity. You have, like, we would like to think we have infinite capacity, but we need to recharge. We need to reduce, because sometimes you're carrying things you're not supposed to carry. And God is like showing you. This is showing you. You just have to surrender. God, I surrender. That's it. So, dude, this is great. So you made my day. I want to close out with a prayer. If you guys allow me to pray. Father, thank you for every founder in this room. It is amazing that every Wednesday we get founders in this room. They are willing to open their hearts to change. And we have every Wednesday just great conversation about purpose and about assignments and about startups. We are startup founders. We'd like to build stuff. Thank you that you do not just give assignments to us. You form us. You form us to be able to carry them. So we do not have to worry to be qualified. Our resume is worth nothing because you are qualifying us. You form the people. So, Lord, like you did with Christian Dodge, show us the gaps we need to face. Like you're doing with Christian Dodge, give us the courage where we have avoided, or the discipline where we have been consistent. Just point that out. What are we missing? What is wrong? What is the gap? That's it. Give us the clarity that where we have been scattered. Give us the capacity where we have been depleted. And above all, give us character where our private patterns and mindsets and behaviors need to mature. Help us put off what cannot come forward. Help us put on what agrees with the new self you are forming in us. Renew our minds. Remagnetize our compass needle. Prune what needs to be pruned. Strengthen what needs to be strengthened. Remove what needs to be removed. And teach us to become faithful stewards of the assignments you have placed in our hands. And I pray this over every single founder in this room in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
That's it. Great meeting. Love you on the Lord. Thank you very much for being here. Great session. Thank you, Sid, Roger, Rick, Chi, Paul, Jonathan, Jeff, Christian, Brandon. The guy was flying today. Where you were driving. I thought it was an airplane. Mr. Benson, thank you. Ashish, thank you. Mr. Gerald, thank you for being such a perfect wingman. Love you on the Lord, guys. Till next week.
Adios.
Signing off.